How you doing, everyone? Welcome to an episode of Krypto Playboy. My name's Seymour. Guys, with me in. Chuck's like the video, subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for more content coming out. Don't forget, hop in the Discord. In there, you got tips, pre-sales, and the best community around. So hop in there, check it out, and let's get into today's episode. All right, so today on the show, guys, with some special guests, the team from Radom Network is coming on, explain a bit about the project and a bit about the progress they've been having behind the scenes. So let's get them on here and hear what they have to say. Here we go. Hello, Scott and Chris. Welcome to the show. How you both doing?
I'll do very well, thanks. Doing very well.
Great. Thank you very much for having us.
Oh, lovely to have you on. I hear you guys are having some horrible weather over there. A bit hot.
Yesterday was just awful for me. I don't know, Scott, you down in London is probably a bit worse.
Yeah, I'm in London, so it was very, very bad. Too humid for me, to be honest with you. It was like Dubai, to be honest with you. We were in Portugal like a few months ago, and that was quite nice because you're next to the ocean, so you get the breeze. But there's no breeze in central London, so.
You'd think you'd be used to it, Scott, with the Middle Eastern genes. You know, you think you'd.
Yeah. My family are from Syria, so I thought I would be used to it, but I was raised in Scotland, so I'm not used to heat whatsoever. Actually.
We had the two opposite ends of the stick on that one: super hot and super cold.
Yeah. I mean, last week I looked like Chris.
All right, boys. Can you tell us a bit like what is Radom Network?
So Radom or Radom, depending on where you're from, we're an infrastructure project, and we're sort of centered around providing payment settlement data for companies that are selling access to anything from a cloud server to a mining rig, an API, database, storage, any type of cloud or data product. If they're selling access to that, we provide a on-chain payment settlement solution. So we offer stream-based payments, which is somewhat in line with what the major cloud companies are offering. So we allow you to price your services by the hour. We charge by block time, so you receive payments every second of block time that passes. And then underpinning all this, we offer the provider of those services the payment settlement data. So what Radom's main focus is, outside of the platform it provides for these providers and the marketplace that it provides for customers, our main focus being around tackling one of the sort of overlooked problems within the blockchain industry. So we're looking at putting a consensus layer over reads within blockchain. Obviously, we have consensus when we're pushing data onto a blockchain. But one of the things that is overlooked is that when you actually want to fetch some data, you're typically either running a node yourself or going to a public node and requesting that data off the chain. In other cases, you might pay and rent out some type of managed node service. But there's really, no element of trustlessness when taking that data off the chain. And that's something that gets overlooked. It's something that's not talked about. You have to trust. Let's say you're going to an Infura node or an Alchemy node, you have to actually trust that the data it's providing you is accurate. Or if you're going to some other public archive node, you need to trust that it's accurate. Or your other alternative, now that we see the merge is in fact coming, which we're all very excited about, I assume. Unless you're a big proof of work guy like myself and you're a little bit on the edge, you're not too sure. But the fact of the matter is, it's coming, it's going to happen. And you're going to need to stake around 32 ETH to actually run a node. That's prohibitive to a lot of companies. They don't really want to hold that type of value in a volatile currency. So staking and running their own node is kind of out the question for them. What Radom does with its payments settlement data is we run proof of stake consensus. So we have a peer-to-peer network, not a blockchain, a peer-to-peer network that reads data from chain, and our nodes act like leeches, a bit like when you're leeching a torrent. So we look at blocks that have been produced. We check if there's any Radom-related data there around sort of payments and purchases of services, or any configuration changes that are made in terms of requesting access to the services that somebody's purchased. And then our network actually votes through its stake as to what information should be pinned within IPFS. And once that consensus once we arrive at that consensus, then that data is then available for providers of cloud services, providers of mining services, APIs, to actually fetch and see, okay, I have a new customer. And they can see that data sitting in IPFS. And alongside that, they can also request information about that customer as well, because that is also getting indexed. So if you look at sort of current solutions around indexing, and I don't want to kind of put anyone down, what the graph has done is extremely impressive. They've allowed for the generic indexing of any on-chain data, which is highly impressive. It's a huge feat, and it involves indexing a lot of data. They have to interface with archive nodes and things like that. But GRT nodes, at present, they have a centralized database attached to them. They all run a Postgres database. So you have to trust the node that you're interfacing with, which works fine for GRT because, either you're running your own node because you're some Web3 company who's using GRT for their very specific solution. For example, Uniswap or 1inch, I know they interface a lot with the graph. But if you're a Web2 company, if you're a provider of cloud and hosting services, and you want to get data off of the chain to verify that somebody's paid and bought one of your services, it can be, quite prohibitive to have to actually run your own node. You don't know a lot about blockchain. The costs are extremely high. The risks are very high. So Radom intends to solve that problem as well, alongside everything else it's doing on payment settlement.
It's like the bridge between two worlds, really.
Yeah, exactly. So it's building that bridge between Web 2 and Web 3, but specifically for that niche of cloud and data. And those are services that we see that Web 3 companies actually have a need for. So, originally when we started off, we were building a solution that was centered around IoT. And what we realized commercially, there's just nothing there for IoT. No blockchain company, nobody in the DeFi space, the GameFi, the metaverse space, whatever type of blockchain project you're running, you're not really interested in IoT data. What you are interested in is the things that you need to operate every single day as a company. Your cloud servers, your databases, your storage. If you need a cryptocurrency miner, if you need APIs that provide blockchain data or financial data. So what Radom has done is we've created a marketplace that allow all of these products to be accessible at the point of purchase, and it's all done through on-demand pricing. That's very similar to what AWS provide, what Azure provides, but we've left this on-chain. So you now, as a Web3 company, once our beta is launched in December, you will actually be able to purchase all of the cloud and data services that you need without ever having to offer them, without ever having to touch a traditional bank account, a custodial account. And that's great for your community as well, because it gives them visibility. Not only, you might be paying your salaries on chain at present, but you're still off-ramping a bunch of cash to pay your Amazon Web Service bills. Give your community that transparency. Let them know what you're actually purchasing and what you're spending your money on. especially if you're some project that is running and functioning off of the capital that you receive through doing a token raise.
That was a very detailed explanation. I actually answered one of my third questions along, but I should have asked this question first. Is tell us about the team. Like, who's the team behind Radom?
So I'm the CEO of the company, and I don't really like that term, because what I really am is I'm somebody from an engineering background. I used to work for Volvo Telematics. I did a brief stint at the National Health Service here in the UK until I realized I was kind of getting tricked into working on some blockchain solution for COVID passports. So I backed off of that very quickly. And I went back into what I was doing at Volvo. I spent a few months at a Japanese insurance company back in telematics and telemetry research. But I realized that, I wanted to do something else. I didn't want to sit in an insurance company. I wanted to actually make a difference, and in some respects make up for what I was doing with the NHS and making things more transparent for the public. And it's kind of how we ended up in blockchain. As for the rest of the team, we've got Scott Osman here. Scott has been with us from the very start as one of our co-founders. He works sales and investment side at Radom, and he's from a sort of technical background as well. So he's very good at onboarding providers onto the platform. And alongside that, I would say we're majority of our team is engineering based. I mean, we've people from Intel, we've people from startup companies out of Salt Lake City, people from investment banks. And alongside that, we also have another co-founder, Ricky, who's fortunately not here with us today, but she is a sort of very proficient designer, does our UI, UX, or illustrative work, and all of that type of stuff that I have no clue about, but it looks nice.
I think you guys should all get matching tracksuits done up together so you can have some Radom tracksuits.
I like that actually.
They're good look.
Or deep blue tracksuit. I'd like that actually. Yeah.
Or an orange one. Maybe an orange one.
Yeah, bright orange. Are there competitors compared to what you guys are trying to build here? Or is anyone else in the market doing something similar?
So there's nobody doing what we're doing around these consensus-based reads, and I guess nobody's really attacking that niche of right now around sort of cloud and data services. There's another project on the market called Loop Crypto, and they're doing subscription-based payments. That kind of has some overlap with what we're doing with the sort of on-demand payments. I know they're sort of working with Alchemy as well, so I'd say definitely check those guys out as well. I think we have a more holistic solution that sort of has the levels of sort of payment settlement that are actually needed by cloud and data services. But I think they will be doing something very cool, especially if they're working with Alchemy. And I think they're probably more on that niche of like SaaS product payments and SaaS product subscriptions. But I think you'll definitely see some cool stuff from them as well in the future.
Okay. And I'm like, this market's been pretty horrible for a lot of new projects. How's it been treating you guys? If you've still been working behind the scenes on it, or what's been happening?
Yeah, so I mean, we've been working a lot around our offering. I mean, we did this repositioning from IoT and moved into these on-demand payments, and kind of put the major focus on our marketplace and on our platform. We've also finalized our MVP back in April. We got that out. In terms of sort of interest, I would say that with the way the markets went, and it's been quite lucky for us that we have been an infrastructure focused project. I think it's been quite kind to us. We've had a lot more interest than we were getting even at the height of the bull run. But I definitely get what you're saying. I think it's it's unfortunately hit the DeFi space, and of course it's done quite a lot of damage to the likes of your move to earn projects and your GameFi and metaverse projects. But I kind of with those three, I kind of have a little less sympathy, and I think it's sort of cleaning out the trash in a lot of ways. Whether people want to agree with me or not, there's a lot of projects in this space that build upon hype, and in those cases, I really don't see the need for their existence, and I think a lot of people utilize the bull run to do a quick cash grab and not really build anything. So it's probably a good thing that we're going through this cleansing period. And then, I mean, we go to the next halving, and we'll probably see some major things happening.
So whoever makes it through this time, they got a good chance of doing well in the next run.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I was saying I was speaking at an event over in Dubai, and I told people 2 months ago, I was just basically regurgitating the advice from Y Combinator. And I stood on stage and I said to projects, if you don't have sufficient runway to get you through this, you need to get on the phone and start raising now, because you're not gonna survive this. The money's not gonna flow like it was flowing 6 months ago.
No.
So I tried to speak and inform as many people as possible around that, whether they listened or not. I guess time will tell.
I know we had some projects I was dealing with, and like everything they're doing was they're working on and building on it, and the market came along now that they've shut up shop with it pretty much. They can't afford to go ahead because there's no investors for them anymore. So 100% right what you're saying there. But let's hope good times keep coming. I was doing some reading about it, and you guys are doing some integrations with mining cloud providers. Can you elaborate on this a bit more? You had some new partners you're joining up with, I believe, or investors?
Yeah, Scott, maybe you wanna jump in there.
Yeah, so we're working with several providers. Main sort of providers we're working with right now are on the sort of mining side. So we're working with a company called Consensus Protocol based out of North America, who operate mining farms in North Carolina. That's run by a guy called Matty, who we're good friends with. We're also working with a company called Hash Miner, based out of Netherlands, that has new operations opening up in Norway. We're also collaborating with API data providers as well, and also an up-and-coming sort of cloud provider called UpCloud out of Finland. And the collaboration there is mainly to scope out how do we bridge our sort of Web3 connections and client base over to their services and facilitate the payment side of things. In terms of investors, what would you like to know? So, in terms of investors, I mean, in general, I can give an overview. I mean, we've investments, private investments, with a cohort of over 30 investors distributed across the world. So, places like Asia, South America. Yeah, I won't name any names, but right,
They're growing.
We have a cohort of over 30 investors distributed across the world from regions and continents everywhere from South America to Asia. So I don't know what to say here, Chris, about the investment side of things.
Keep that for
maybe,
next time.
Yeah, no. Would you be able to clarify the question, Sam?
Just because, I was just really looking get any update on what's happening with because I know I was reading about some partnerships you guys had. What was it? Some partnerships you had with Amazon Web Services and support.
Yeah, so maybe I should focus more on the grant side of things and So in terms of partnerships and providers, in terms of partnerships, we've got a lot of partners across the Web3 space. In terms of oracles, we're partnered with Super Oracles, Nest Protocol. We've even got partnerships with Near Foundation, Near Protocol, as we'll be deploying onto Aurora. We've been given a grant as a company to deploy on Aurora, which was really helpful for us. Recently, we even received a grant from Amazon Web Services for about $30,000 of Amazon credits as well, and we're actually going through the process of joining the Amazon Web Services Partner Network. We also have recently incubated into a program called Bit of Destruction Lab, which is, I think, Canada's best incubator. It's a non-profit, non-equity based incubator where you receive mentorship from the top players in Web3 and blockchain, so co-founders of various projects. Um, you even have Scott Stornetta involved, who has also mentored us briefly, who was actually the guy who came up with the term blockchain and is actually mentioned in Satoshi's white paper. So we have mentorship from really exceptional, high quality people from that incubation lab, which has been really helpful. We also were incubated and are currently incubated into Barclays Bank incubation lab in Scotland. So that's called Eagle Labs. We're sort of working with people in the more so traditional mining, oil, and gas industries and trying to bridge connections to potentially people within the sort of electric charging industry. But I would say that's lower on the focus in comparison to sort of on the Web3 side of things. Um, so yeah, um,
So funnily enough, the two, so Barclays Eagle Lab, we were introduced to them by one of our advisors, Grant Smith, up in Scotland, and we've been working with them for a couple of months now, and we just sort of got accepted into the co-op with Creative Destruction Lab through their sort of blockchain incubator. And then it was announced yesterday actually that Barclays Eagle Lab was partnering with CDL as well for their I believe it was their environmental program, their environmental incubator. So there's definitely going to be some synergy between the two as well. So hopefully we can kind of make the push and make some connections with other companies in Barclays sort of banks incubator that are getting involved with CDL. We might be able to work some type of partnerships out through that. Not really saying with the big oil and gas companies. I mean, that would be fantastic, but more so, we're very interested in a lot of these environmental issues, and there's a lot of angel and sort of startup companies that are coming through the works right now that are doing some very very high tech stuff for the oil and gas industry that we'd love to be working with.
Well, it sounds like you guys are making some really good partners out there, and it's only early days with the project, so that's really good to hear from your end. I've also been reading this thing called the beta launch giveaway you guys are doing. Can you tell us a bit more about this? Because 153 days before the beta program begins, or the beta platform.
So this was our sort of attempt at a marketing campaign. Obviously, we want to get everyone aware that we are, in fact, launching the beta version of our marketplace and our provider platform. So 133 days, 1 hour from now, 20 minutes, 56 seconds, you will be able to come onto the Radom marketplace and actually purchase access to cloud servers and 2 mining rigs if you get involved with our beta launch. We are giving away some startup grants to angel and pre-seed companies that sign up. So if you sign up, your company's selected to actually win that grant, you'll get $1,000 worth of credits to spend on the Radom marketplace as well. Alongside that, there's some prizes there from our partners. So we got some prizes as well related to cryptocurrency mining. So you can win yourself a Bitcoin A6 miner. You could win yourself a MatchX miner. And on top of that, you can win yourself some tokens if you sign up. So yeah, I mean, we're looking in a sort of the winners will be announced in December when we first go live. We're looking at a sort of 3-prong approach here for our launch. So initially, we're going to be bringing on the partners of Radom in December. and a few of those startup companies that are selected to really receive the grants. And then in February, we'll be doing a more open launch where everybody who's signed up to the beta will be able to join in there. And we think a month or two after that, we'll open the marketplace to the public. So that's kind of where we are right now with our roadmap.
Okay, and has it been a successful campaign so far? Things been coming as you like?
It's yeah, I mean it's actually been quite overwhelming. So we as a company hadn't really done anything around marketing. We hadn't really done any sort of outreach. We've sort of been sitting in stealth mode, and we speak to our partners a lot, but we never really spoke to the community much. And we pushed this out on Monday. We have around 1,000 signups now. We have just over 60 from Web3 companies and exchanges. So yeah, I mean, it's been extremely overwhelming. I mean, very, very exciting times for us. And we just want to crank those numbers up some more. We'd love to have 500 Web3 companies signed up. If you are listening and you work in blockchain, push your company to sign up. You guys shouldn't be off ramping to pay Amazon. Go through one of our pro cryptocurrency cloud providers and order your server from there.
I love what you boys are doing, and I look forward to following the progress of it. So I'll be sure to get you guys back on the show to give us an update. But I thank you for coming on. I thank you for your time, and I do wish you the best of luck with it. Yeah, hope you enjoyed your time here.
Yeah, thanks a lot for your time, Sam. Yeah, just to reiterate what Chris is saying, please sign up to the beta. You'll get exclusive access, and you'll have the ability to run access to cloud devices, mining rigs, etc. in December. And also, please follow our social media: Radom Network on Twitter, Radom Network on LinkedIn, and Radom Network and Radom Network announcements on Telegram.
I'll put some links down below for everyone so they can click it and check it out themselves. But I think next time you guys will have to be in matching tracksuits. That's going to be a key thing to these videos.
Yeah, I'll get the orange one.
Awesome, boys. Nice to see you both, and I'll talk to you guys very soon.
Thanks for having us on.
See you, boys. There you guys have it. It's the Radom team. So get on there, check it out, put the links down below. Know anyone of you guys interested, sign up to it and get prepared for those benefits, and you can even win some things on it. So why not get your hands on it now and start getting ahead of times with these things? This is the future here. Get your hands on it. Get your companies involved in it. We're all moving in this direction. So guys, don't forget to like the videos, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for more content coming out.